Okay, you guys ready?
Yep.
Anyway, good morning. You all know me, Dr. Wesley Phillips, and this young lady next to me is Ms. Cheryl Abram. Welcome to the Cyber Future Certification Track. We're going to go through these slides as quick as possible. Everything within these slides contain information that relate to earning the CompTIA IT Fundamentals Certification. Any questions?
No,
sir. Questions, here we go. All right, this button again.
Yeah.
Okay, there we are again. Ms. Cheryl Abram has 2 CompTIA certifications and quite a few others. She is also the Cybersecurity Behavioral Change and Consultant and Learning Designer at New Tech Educational Systems. I have a few cybersecurity certifications. There were actually too many for both of us, so I just put ETC, and I'm the Vice President of New Tech Education System Cyber Future Program. Today's agenda, introduction, 20 minutes or so. We're going to introduce this certification track, the information for the exam. We're going to talk about learning styles, and we're going to talk about 10 strategies to pass the CompTIA exams. This is a foundational exam. It is a humble beginning, and hopefully you both or all will continue to work towards other exams beyond that. The information within this exam, you will see it or need that foundation in other exams, including other exams outside of CompTIA. Then we're going to have examples of each strategy, take about 30 minutes or so. We're going to do practice questions. You need to see what these practice questions look like. You need to start looking at it and getting frustrated. Then while you're getting frustrated, you're going to have to think and calm down. Then we're going to come up with a way, a technique, so that you can find the best answer. Okay? We'll do a quick evaluation, and then we'll talk about next steps. Any questions?
Nope.
No questions. Moving on. Hey, what is the Cyber Future Certification Track? Pardon me. We have 2 tracks now, the club track. You can read this information here, but in the club track, all we're doing is hands-on cybersecurity, Linux, Python, etc., etc. We're doing a capture the flag event. We are solving real problems. We're teaching how to critically think. We're doing labs galore. Okay. It's also kind of fun, and is a great way to introduce people to cybersecurity. And then ultimately, and they can flip-flop, there's no specific order right now. We would like to encourage them to come to the certification track, where they can take those skills and learn the theory of why it needs to be done this way, learn how to do practice exams, and also learn the simulations that actually exist on a lot of the CompTIA exams. Usually the first 5 questions on every CompTIA exam is a simulation, a hands-on, something that you need to know how to do. And so that means you have to study probably about 20, 25 different simulations and then go take the test and see what they offer and what they have. And then you're like, oh, okay, I got that. Okay, anything you want to add for that? Okay. Oh, so CompTIA also has what they call stackable certifications. So as you can see on the slide here, there are 2 pathways highlighted here. The infrastructure career pathway, which is IT fundamentals, A+, Net+, Security+, those are core certifications. Those are the humble beginnings. The infrastructure pathway is Linux+, Server+, and Cloud+. Everything you need to become a great, strong systems administrator or the like. There are so many different job titles out there. Then there's the cybersecurity pathway, which is the Cybersecurity Analyst Plus, CYSA Plus, the CASHAPP. There's also the Penetration Plus. That's another exam that CompTIA has including their cybersecurity pathway, and we could talk about that and look at that later. There are, from what I understand, I think a few other pathways, but when you earn X amount of certifications, then CompTIA will send you that extra certification to show you which pathway you're in, and it's kind of cool. Okay, questions? Moving on. Your primary study resource is this particular link here. Both of you should have this. And I'm going to show it on this computer here. Okay. Okay, hold on. Cheryl is teaching me how to do this thing. Drag it up. Okay.
Okay, do you all see a different screen now?
Yeah.
Do?
CompTIA? Okay.
With the 65 on it?
Right.
Outstanding. Okay. So this is the what you all already have access. It's a shame, but during coronavirus, some of these companies are offering things for free, and that's also an opportunity for us to be able to use this information, this great free information from CompTIA to work towards these certifications. On the left side here, you'll see learning plan, right? And there's a whole bunch of different lessons here, 14 lessons.
So do both of you have access to this already?
Yes, I got my link last night.
Okay.
I got my link last night.
All right, have you looked through it?
I saw this screen.
I have to register.
Do you have to register? Okay, okay.
Yeah, so make sure you register, because what we want you to do is to actually use it on a daily basis. Use it, come back in here next week or the next time we meet, because we're going to expect you to have gone through this information while we present ways to pass this certification exam and to complete these hands-on, lessons. Okay?
Right, and this is not always free, and it's only going to be free until I think June 20th or something like that. Okay.
Right.
Again, like because Wesley said, because of Corona. So please take advantage. It's a very, very, very good resource. A lot of different ways for you to learn the content, and it's from CompTIA, so you know you're getting exactly what's going to be on that exam. Okay.
Okay. No one's going to be holding your hand, walking you through it. You go through it yourself. There is a lot of self-learning and self-study in working towards a certification exam. Okay, this is their structured plan, just so you know, and it tells you the percentage. The strengths and weaknesses, make sure you go through this so you can understand what you're stronger at, what you're weaker at, concentrate on that. There are lessons. These lessons, there's an introduction, there's common computing devices, using a workstation. These are all the things that's going to be on your exam, period. It's going to be written in their language. Make sure you understand CompTIA's English, I say, or because they use specific verbiage that you need to understand and you may see again. I'm not going to go through all of them, but there's quite a lot of lessons. I think 23 lessons. Okay. Then there's also the PBQs, which are the performance-based questions. These are like the simulations that may exist on an actual exam. Usually the first questions. So they'll explain a scenario, you read that, close the window, and then on this particular one, you go through the lessons, smartphone, click on it, etc., all functions. And then after you finish everything, you hit done and it'll grade you. Hit finish. And this is, okay. And it'll give you a percentage and it'll give you a score of what you've gotten correct or incorrect. And there are about 12 of them. Well, 23 or less. 12, right? About 12 lessons, half 23, 11, something like that. And you can see what your grade is at the end. This will strengthen not just your ability to pass the test, but you will start to understand the actual components for doing work should you have to do that at work. Okay. So then there's a practice section, right? Where they'll have practice questions. You can reset the questions. You can see how you're progressing forward. There are also assessments and a final assessment, 75 questions, timed exam, reset it if you need to. There are flashcards.
Oh yeah.
This is awesome, so you can learn the verbiage. And then there's a game center. Are there any other questions about the learning platform?
No, I've used some of the flashcards in their Linux program and their Security Plus. I'm in the middle of doing the flashcards for the Security Plus, and they're helpful because even if you're not near your computer or you're somewhere away from it, you can literally just pull it out and take a.
That's right. You very well may be able to do this on your cell phone too.
Mm-hmm.
Can you all see that other screen, primary study resource? Is that what you see?
Yes.
Okay, good. So what are you going to do in this track? Okay, this track is mainly about helping you pass the exam. All right, so we're going to be doing a lot of exam questions and working through those, studying those, make sure we know how to answer those in a way that we're going to get the correct answer. Okay, but there will be some lecture, research, and hands-on, especially as you come to us after you've been studying and let us know what you may be struggling with. Okay. And just so you know, we only have, including today, 6 hours of formal instruction of this. So we're going to be meeting, we're meeting today, and then we have 2 more meetings, okay, for this one. Now, the next time it's going to be throughout the entire Future King schedule, all right? So that we've just pivoted, you know, towards the end to do something different for Cyber's future. Again, here's some information about the exam. It's 75 questions, multiple choice. You have 48 seconds per question, all right? You have to earn a 650 out of 1,000. And here's a list of the exam objectives, all right? And you'll see that very clearly in the CompTIA training, all right? If at any time you have questions, just let us know. Now, we thought this was important to mention, okay, because we totally understand that people learn differently. Wesley and I learn very differently. I mean, very differently. And, you know, it can get a little shaky sometimes, right?
I'm like, why don't you understand?
Right. But that's okay. That's okay, though. That's actually a good thing, right? Because Wesley is able to show me things I don't see and don't pay attention to, because that's not my learning style, right? And vice versa, right? So it's a very good combination. So get to know the way that you learn and be open to learn in a different way, okay? To be able to understand this information, because Wesley and I found that the more we were able to, you know, consider other ways of learning the content, the better it was for us to actually grasp it, okay?
And we'll show you a lot of these techniques as we go through. Even as a teacher, you know, when I started teaching in college, I think that I was one of the worst teachers ever. It's just because I did not understand this. I taught it how I understood it, and it helped some people, but it didn't help everyone. So what we're trying to do, a major goal, is to get 100% of the people to understand these things from various standpoints.
Okay, so these are the 10 strategies that Wesley's gonna go into detail about today, okay? Now, these are the things that work very well for us and for other people, okay? Because before we took the test, we actually went and we asked people, you know, what's the best way to do this? What's the best way to study for this particular exam? And we were able to put all those things together, okay? So, of course, you wanna schedule your exam. Everybody in the certification track, as of today, will have a voucher to go ahead and take the IT fundamentals. When you get that voucher
is good for 1 year.
Right, so when you get it, go ahead. Do you want to tell them what you recommend?
Okay. I recommend within 30 days, 60 days maximum, schedule your exam. And then guess what? I mean, you already paid for it. You're responsible for this. So every day, schedule the exam. I'll give you, I personally did the same thing. I studied for my CISM. Cheryl helped me. I did it within 30 days. I went and sat for the exam. The first time I failed. I was not happy. Anyway, I studied a little bit more. I took that next test. I passed it. Very expensive, $600 exam. But since then, my study habits have improved. And I took my GSLC. I had to wait 2 weeks to take the test. I couldn't wait. I went and took the test and passed. You know?
You want to schedule it because that really gives you a sense of urgency and purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're not just going to be lollygagging around. You have to get this done. All right. Then you want to study at least 25 questions per day with 1 full practice exam, and take at least 2 to 3 full practice exams. And Wesley's going to explain that in more detail shortly. Please, please, please do not expect to see the practice questions on the actual exam. All right. Really understanding that will change the way you study, because now you're not studying to remember, you're really studying to understand. Okay.
Right.
That's a totally different way to study. All right. Because we can almost guarantee you will not see any of these questions on that exam. Okay. You want to take time tests. All CompTIA tests are time. You have a certain amount of time to take them. The CISA, I had 4 hours. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. The Security Plus, I had 90 minutes, 1 minute per question. I was in hell. I mean, because that's not, I have to take my time, but I had to learn a different way in order to be able to pass that test. Okay.
Okay.
Understand why you choose your answers. We're going to do that today. Diversify your study materials. Don't just use one thing. We have the free CompTIA. It's a wonderful resource, but please don't just use that. Okay. There's a lot of other things we're going to talk about. Study with a partner. I can honestly say, if it wasn't for Wesley studying with me, I probably would not have, if I passed, it would have taken me a whole bunch of attempts, okay? Studying with him really expedited the learning process, all right? So find somebody to study with, okay? Determine what you already know. Explain concepts to somebody else, especially people who are not familiar with this stuff, to see if they understand what you're talking about. All right, because in the workplace, that's what you're going to have to do. You're not just going to be talking to IT people. You're going to be talking to people who have no idea, what some of this stuff is, and you have to be able to talk to them in a way that they can understand. All right. You want to read current events related to the content. That's very helpful. If you go out in the news and see what's happening with some of these things that I'm reading about, what's going on in the news, what's Microsoft doing with this stuff, what's Apple doing with these things, okay? And engage in hands-on practice when possible. All right, so Wesley's going to go over all of these individually and show you examples of all of that.
Any questions so far? There are no questions. Moving on. The whole goal here is to study smarter, not harder. Are we good? Okay. Okay. So, we already talked about scheduling your exam. You have to go to CompTIA's website or Pearson View's website and look for an exam, a testing location in your area. There's one right there at Nova. There's also another one down in Dale City. There may be one closer in Stafford or wherever you live. Just create an account and find a testing center. In some cases, because of coronavirus, you very well may be able to take the test from home. Now that is totally different because CompTIA is not one of those places where you come in there and they politely strip search you a little bit, and then you go in there and you sit for the exam. And they have cameras on you, they watch you, they're obviously, if you think you're cheating, you're out. You do anything inappropriate, you're out. And this right in CompTIA is probably not one of the most difficult ones. If you take or earn one of those ISE squared exams or what have you, they have you pull your sleeves up, you pull your pant legs up, you have to take your coats off, your jackets, everything. They make sure Then you're all on camera, beginning and the end, and you do biometrics as well. You may do a thumbprint or a retina scan. So can you tell how serious this is? Yeah, serious. Because the truth is, these certifications are in high demand in private industry and government, and people are paying good money for people who hold these certifications. And there's an expectation that you will do all of the things that Michelle was saying in this course on the last slide, and what we're going to say in this course. Any questions about this? Okay, Pearson View, create an account, CompTIA, what have you, it'll bring you here, and then do this first, 30 to 60 days, and then study smarter. Okay, study practice questions. My recommendation, you take one full exam. This particular exam, for example, has 75 questions, right? 75 questions. Don't do it all in one day. You're just gonna stress yourself. That's too much. That's like, you can only take but so many bites out of the big pink elephant in the room. Take little small nibbles. Okay, maybe even the first hour of your day, do 5 questions. Spread that out over your day and do 25 questions. Do them as many times as you can stomach so that you understand not just the question and the right answer, but also learn why the other answers are just wrong. That'll help you learn how they're actually writing the test. So they write the test like this. And, sometimes we think, oh, they're trying to trick us. No, they're trying to make you think. We pride ourselves on being critical thinkers. How many people are critical thinkers? Most people raise their hand. I'm a critical thinker. Yeah, but when we hate taking tests. And I'm one of those people. I detest taking tests as well. But Cheryl loves it. She's weird. Awesomely smart. But if you can start studying and dissecting these questions and every answer, read it out loud. You won't be able to read it out loud in the test, though. But read it out loud. Which of the following would be best to keep the data on a laptop safe if the laptop is lost or stolen? Anybody want to take a stab at that? The first answer is host-based firewall. You got to think, what is a host-based firewall? What does that do? Will that keep the data on the laptop safe if the laptop is stolen or lost? The second answer is strong administrator password. Okay, I have a strong password. Will that keep it safe if someone takes my computer or I lose it? Anti-malware software. If you know what it does, you can answer this question. Full disk encryption. If my computer is lost or stolen, which of these 4 answers do you think makes the most sense?
D.
D for full disk encryption, right? Right? Because a host-based firewall, you know what a firewall does, right? You can set permissions to block and deny particular information coming in and out of your network or on your computer in this case, because a host is another word for CPU, computer, node, etc. And a strong password, if I get your computer, I got you. It doesn't matter. If I'm a bad guy and I have the actual computer because you lost it and I stole it, I'm breaking everything you have there. And then anti-malware software, no. Full disk encryption is the best answer. I'm not going to go through the next question. This is the way you're going to have to think. Okay, time test. After you have done maybe 2 or 3 full questions. Oh, and I forgot, this is a really good point. The reason why you want to do 1 full exam, let me go back to that. 1 full exam, 25 questions per day, because by the time you get to the end, you will have finished every objective that CompTIA has placed in that 1 exam. So what it is CompTIA will say have like 5 objectives, main objectives of what the individual who passed the exam would need to know. 17% for this particular objective, 22% for this one, whatever this other percentage of. And you need to understand 100% or as much as possible of that. So now that you finished that and you studied that and dissected that one exam over 3 days, you know what? Take that whole exam as a timed exam. See how well or how poorly you do. Of course, you're going to know the answers, but you need to know why. Then move on to your next exam and even your next exam. And then from there, start doing some timed exams that you've never seen the questions for.
Okay, so here we have a timed exam for you to take. I'm going to share a poll with you. There's 10 questions here, all right? And I'm going to want you, you're going to have 8 minutes to answer these questions. All right, do you see it?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yep.
It already started. You started your 5 seconds early. Welcome to the new normal. I'll do it for you. Any questions? You good? Well done. Just what you like.
Oh shoot. Where'd it go?
What happened? The questions disappeared?
No. Okay, so it looks like you're both done. Are you both done?
I think so. Yeah, I submitted mine.
Awesome. All right. So I'm going to end the polling. So that was like 3 minutes, 45 seconds, something like that. Okay. Very good. In the polling. Okay. Now we're going to share the results and we're going to go over the right answers. Okay. But the purpose of us doing this is to show that when you add time to something, that you're adding another layer of context, right? So having to choose a right answer in a certain amount of time, you're nervous, you're reading it differently, all of that stuff. But we have to learn how to still be able to analyze these questions and interpret them in a way that we get the right answer under that pressure, okay? Which is a lot different than doing it, with all the time in the world.
Okay, so we're going to share the results. Can you see it? So the first one, an image displayed on a monitor is an example of, and both of you selected output. Congratulations. That is the correct answer. The second one, which of the following computer components is primarily responsible for preventing overheating? And you both selected fan. That's the correct answer. Which of the following is used for the temporary storage of program data that is cleared when the computer is turned off? The correct answer is actually system memory. Okay, versus SSD, solid state drive. Okay, number 4, which of the following security threats would you use, would the use of cable locks reduce? And that answer is hardware theft. Great. Which of the following components serves as temporary storage for computer operations? And the correct answer is RAM, random access memory. Okay, 5. Which of the following is the function, 6, excuse me. Which of the following is the function of a CPU? And that answer is performs data computation. Which of the following is the component responsible for the interconnectivity of internal system devices? And that answer is the motherboard.
Chose it at first. I changed my answer.
Which of the following internal computer components is used to connect video, audio, and network cards? And the answer is motherboard. Yeah. Number 9. After installing the OS on a workstation, a technician notices that everything is displayed in large windows and the viewing area is limited. Which of the following will the technician need to adjust to resolve this issue? And the answer is resolution. Last question. An end user has 16 gigabytes of RAM installed on a computer system. Which of the following describes the OS only, why the OS only uses a maximum of 4 gigabytes of RAM? And the answer is OS is 32-bit. So, very good still, right? You see some things that you got correct the first time. Yeah, I know this. And then there's some things, man, I should have chosen that answer. Hopefully you will remember that. And the more you study into why that answer was that answer, the better you will remember that. Okay, we're gonna move on. Close it. All righty then. Next slide. Understand why you chose your answers. We just talked about that. All right. So I have a question for you here now. All of this information comes from the actual questions for the CompTIA IT Fundamentals Certification exam. Okay. So we're not just making up stuff here. We're very deliberate. We're just trying to peak your learning styles and get you to understand this content well.
So right here, what we want you to do is to talk us through why you're going to give the answer you give. Okay.
So we have, I think, 4 questions right here for you next. This one is, what is a type of PC which is housed in a case that can sit on or under a desk? Consequently, they're often referred to as a desktop PCs or just as desktops. Drum roll. Grrr. What is your answer?
Devon, you want to walk us through your answer?
Because you can sit it on a desk. Maybe because that's how they were originally used. They were always put on top of desks for workers and stuff.
What is your answer? I didn't hear what your answer was. Sorry.
So here's a hint. It is a one-word answer. But I heard what you said about they're on your desk to work. Well, you didn't.
Okay.
But Michelle is asking, what is your answer? You're like out of the video. Come on in.
What do you think it is, Devon?
A desk.
It's okay. It's not about getting it right or wrong. We just want to practice how we think through these things.
Mona, think of your word too.
Would it be considered as a tower?
Okay, we got tower.
Why do you say tower?
I mean, I've overheard other like IT people refer to it like it's either a laptop or if it's a desktop, that I've heard them also refer to it as a tower.
Okay. Okay. All right.
What's your guess or word, Devon?
The case.
A case.
Okay. Hey, ready? Answer is workstation.
Have you heard workstation before too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But guess what? You're not really wrong. Usually a desktop computer is associated with a tower.
Mhm.
You know, that housing, the case
Yep.
of where the motherboard and all of the other components are housed within. In this particular case, you are now learning that you need to understand the term workstation as well as desktop PC, as well as, you know, maybe tower and layman's terms in the real workplace. Ironically, you see this picture right here?
Yeah.
Every time I look at it, it makes me think of work because, you know, I manage a boatload of cybersecurity analysts, and our office looks very similar to that.
Yep.
Only thing is they have more screens. They have about 6 screens on their desk. But we're gonna go to the next one, okay? Good job, both of you actually.
Mhm.
You're thinking. The next one, a lightweight computer that has been optimized, optimized for establishing a remote connection with a server-based computing environment. What is this?
I can't hear.
Lightweight computer.
A laptop.
A laptop?
Okay.
Why do you say it's a laptop?
Because laptops are usually lighter than a regular desktop.
Okay. They are, yeah, they tend to be, yeah. Look at the government laptop.
Ramona.
No, I was thinking the same thing, especially with the remote connection.
Okay. You ready for the answer? The drum roll. Grrr.
And
Again, you're not 100% wrong at all. But now they're getting into specifics versus generic. So whenever you see that term lightweight computer, start thinking thin client.
Look at the purpose of it. Look
And
at the
exactly,
purpose, right?
exactly. Okay, good job. We move to the next one. What is computer software, firmware, or hardware that creates and runs virtual machines and manages the execution of the guest operating systems? Term you may have heard before.
Keywords in here.
Operating systems.
What's your answer?
The virtual box.
Okay, he got VirtualBox. How about you, Ramona?
I was thinking of the ISO because that's what you use once you create the virtual box to run the guest operating systems.
Mhm.
Am I?
Okay. Is that your final answers?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, so here we go. Drum roll. Grrr. Hypervisor.
You were both right in the area. You really were.
Right in the
Yeah,
middle.
right
So
there.
when we go through this course, and also as you study, you're going to learn about the type 1 to type 2 hypervisors, and you're definitely in the ballpark when you're talking about VirtualBox or VMware. They do host guest operating systems. A hypervisor is usually used on a large network. It's considered a bare metal hoster of virtual machines. But we'll learn more about this in the content, okay? But hopefully that's going to be something that adds to your knowledge this second. Last one. What is any computer providing services to other computers?
I think it would be a server.
We got server from Ramona. How about you, Devon?
You have peer-to-peer. They're not providing services.
Yeah, I think it would be server.
So both of you going with server?
I am.
Right? Client server, right? Look at the picture in the middle, right? It provides services to other services.
What we typically think of when we think of a server is the picture in the middle. However, any computer can be used as a server.
This is true. And also too is note how they put any computer providing services. So we look for all these little key words sometimes in our questions. Sometimes they come up and they're like, services, server. And we've done that many times. So good job. And now we're going to move on to diversifying your study materials. Okay. So this is YouTube. Find a video that talks about servers, hypervisors, or the other things that we found in our answers, you know, the lightweight computers, and look it up and say, man, that was great. And you learn that fast from a 2-minute YouTube video, sometimes a little longer, other times less. You can also Google it. You can look up images. Do what you need to so that you can learn from the various learning styles. You know, Cheryl, for example, is very auditory. She can just hear it with a great example that has nothing to do with IT, and she is like, I got it. She has it, you know. You know, for the client service, you think about a waiter in a restaurant, and they come to you and they say, what would you like to eat? They take your order, they go, they get it, and they bring it back, and they serve you the food, and they get it right. That's kind of like what a server does. Its sole purpose is to serve all of the clients, right? Now, whatever you have to do to learn and know that these concepts, the responsibility is on you to do it, so that you can say, man, these tests are great. While I may not have liked taking tests before, I'm starting to enjoy this because I'm learning how to think more critically, and I can apply the answer. And if I get it wrong, man, okay, I learn from my mistakes and I keep moving forward. You just don't quit.
There's also iPhone apps or Android apps that you can download specifically for this material.
Such as this one here.
When I was doing CISA and Security Plus, I joined Facebook groups that were talking about the same thing. You know, there's also Reddit and Quora. These online groups talking about that. When you can study when you're driving your car, you know, which Wesley did a lot.
There's a lot of traffic in the DMV.
Right. I put something on while I'm cooking. You know, I listen to Dion's video or something like that. Okay, so there's plenty of opportunities. You don't always have to be sitting down at a desk in front of a computer, you know, to be studying the material.
Right. And sometimes I even talk to people or bring out a piece of paper or a whiteboard and start trying to draw the picture of what it does. Because if you can explain it to anyone else, whether they have interest or not, you really know it then. Okay, I want to move on to the next one. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay. Ooh, sorry, I ended up playing the video. Hey, study with a partner. Examples, a classmate. The two of you can study, mama and son. Awesome, right? You can also study with someone else that may be working towards a certification. Who knows? You may find someone that is not interested in certification and you can study with them. But we'll get into that later. But if you find someone that's like-minded and working towards the same goal as you, like Cheryl and I have done for various certifications.
Not in the beginning.
Not in the beginning though, right?
Yeah, in the beginning, I was just in the car. And he was like, can you ask me these questions? And I said, okay. That's how it all started.
So the interesting thing is she loves to read.
I do. I love to read.
I hate reading. But it's fundamental, right? I have a doctorate degree and I hate reading. Did I just say that live? So anyway, I had her, I'm so grateful that she read the questions to me. And we got about 25, sometimes 30 questions in the commute home. That was all the time I had. And it was like, I couldn't wait to go home. One, to go home. Two, because I can get with Cheryl. She doesn't mind reading the questions for me. That became infectious to her. And now look at her. I don't know how many certifications she has, 7, 8. She has a lot of certifications now as a result of that. And now we do this for fun. It is actually fun for us. So hopefully you will find a good study partner. And if you don't, big boy and big girl rules apply. Do it yourself. Okay. Determine what you already know. Everybody says, I know that already. But when you ask them a question, they sit around like that. There's a lot of pause. These questions are the CompTIA troubleshooting model.
This is your materials. Okay, this is something you have to know for the exam.
Not just this exam. If you go on to A+, Network Plus, Security Plus, etc., these principles, this model works in cybersecurity, period. Some institutions may differ the term slightly, but what you need to know is CompTIA because you're taking the CompTIA exam.
And the point here is you probably already know it. You just don't have the labels that they put on it.
Correct.
Okay, so for this next exercise, we're going to try that out.
Okay, so let me go back real quick. Identify the problem, research your knowledge base or the internet if applicable, establish a theory of probable cause. What do you think could have happened? Test that theory to determine the actual root cause. Establish a plan of action to resolve that problem and identify potential effects. Implement the solution or escalate as necessary. Verify full system functionality and if applicable, implement preventive measures and document findings or lessons learned, actions, and outcomes. You will find that this is relevant not only in IT or cybersecurity, but it's in other disciplines, in security in general, in project management, software development, etc., etc. So question, what's the last problem you solved? Okay, let me make sure I move our pictures up so you can see this. What technical or non-technical problem have you had recently? How did you solve the problem? Did you use any of the steps in CompTIA troubleshooting model? Go.
Oh no, you want to go first?
Maybe you know anything?
Actually at work, since we've been using the Zoom and the Microsoft Teams, I have some coworkers who aren't that technically savvy. So they usually always refer to one guy, and he can't help everybody at the same time. So I've actually been able to assist him and use workarounds when the normal doesn't work and just been able to help out the department.
Awesome. Good. And I'm sure you learned a lot of lessons from that, right?
Yeah, I did a lot of troubleshooting. It felt pretty good.
All right. And it empowered you and gave you some confidence because you actually said, man, I know the answer.
Right. And then
Right.
when the usual, well, it's supposed to do this, but it didn't. I'm like, okay, well, let's try it this way.
Exactly. Yep.
That's right. Workarounds are very common in IT.
Yeah.
In cybersecurity. How about you, Devon?
With the Wi-Fi, my Wi-Fi was acting up like last Saturday, so I had called the company, Comcast, and they figured out that we weren't getting a good enough stronger enough signal, so they had asked me to do some stuff to the modem, to the box, and I just felt good about like fixing the Wi-Fi because I wanted to watch TV. That's probably it.
Hey, that's important. Maybe you want to watch the news or something.
Right.
You may want to play your favorite video game.
Or maybe you want to watch YouTube and pick up some skills, you know.
Right.
I'm going to try to be optimist, okay?
Yeah.
Right. So I think almost like instinctively, we already have problem solving abilities and we know the process, okay? So there is a lot of this that we already know.
And do.
Right.
So consider this not just, if you can itemize how you fixed a personal problem, you can hopefully do that same thing for your professional problem and or perfect how you resolve problems personally. You know, sometimes we don't do well solving our own problem. We want to pawn it off on somebody else. You know, they say psychiatrists have to have psychiatrists, right? So, you know, but problem solving, critical thinking is an important skill that is documented on many of the IT and cybersecurity position descriptions that you may find. They write it out in those words: critical thinking, problem solving. And in this particular case, while working towards these certifications, you want to use and remember this troubleshooting model is the basis, a foundation for all of the different situations that they give you. We're going to give you questions. That's a problem. How do I get through this? Did I find the right answer? Stuff like that. Any questions? Moving on. Explain concepts to someone else. Okay. I'll put a button here. Okay, good. Okay. So, a little exercise. Define the following terms in your own words. Ready?
Yep.
Smartphone.
A phone that you use.
Did you say a phone that you use?
I think he's still thinking. Say it again,
Speak
Devon.
up. Oh, describe what a smartphone is?
Yeah, in your own words. What's a smartphone?
Oh, just as a mini computer that you can use as a telephone?
Any computer you can use as a telephone. I like that.
Hey, what's yours, Devon?
Mobile device that allows you to download apps and make calls and texts.
Okay.
All right, then. Here's the answer. Device with roughly the same functionality as a personal computer that can be held in one hand.
Bam.
Good job, both of you, right? Yes. So understand the CompT is English, like I told you in the beginning. CompT is terminology and verbiage. Laptop computer.
Probably say use it like as a mobile workstation, like a computer that can be a more mobile computer or more mobile workstation.
Okay.
Sounds true to me.
A compact version of a desktop.
Okay.
Looking at these definitions, are you? What in your own words, okay?
So here we go. A small, portable personal computer that integrates the display, system components, and input and output devices within a single portable case or chassis. Okay, no cheating now. Operating system.
Think, Mr. Miller, think.
Yeah, we know what these things are, but you see how difficult it is to put it in our own words?
Mhm.
We really have to learn how to do that.
That's why I always appreciate people who train,
Yes.
because you can know how to do it, but it's something else to be able to communicate it to somebody else.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Come on, you got a guess?
A system that allows you to operate on your computer.
You're moving words around, sir.
That allows you to operate on your computer. I like that.
Okay, hold on. Provides interfaces between the hardware, application programs, and the user. A lot more specific, right? The OS handles many of the basic system functions, such as interaction with the system hardware and input output. I'm sorry, that was funny. Okay, so here we go. Basic input output system, or the BIOS. How would you define that?
A system that allows you to output data from the motherboard or
Data from the motherboard.
into a desktop or a speaker,
Okay.
for example.
What say you, Ramona?
Would say it's a function that allows like the main startup system, not the main startup system, but I guess like the motherboard and the peripherals to communicate with one another.
Okay, I'm gonna hit the button, okay?
Okay.
Provides industry standard firmware that operates the essential components of the PC and ensures that the design of each manufacturer's motherboard is PC compatible. What I thought was cool was both of you talked about input and output, and you both talked about motherboard, right, within this PC. So now, as you go through that course, you will learn a whole lot more about the BIOS and how and why it's important. For example, if you're using your hypervisor, you need to go into your BIOS and enable for the hypervisor to actually work, even your virtual machines. Otherwise, it may not work. But anyway, and each system, there's a certain way to get into the BIOS, maybe F2, F12, F10, a different way to get that. And the screen looks different. Very important for an IT professional to understand.
It normally shows up in the blue screen, I think, with the H.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now we're moving on. No matter which certification you decide to work towards, the foundation for IT and cybersecurity is understanding the Cia Triad. And CIA is explained right there: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Briefly, before we move to the next slide, can someone explain to me what confidentiality is in their own words?
Keeping secrets.
Okay, keeping secrets. Okay, being hiding information, keeping it private from everyone else. Right. So your password will be a good example of confidentiality. Keep that confidential. Your social security number, do you just give that to everybody? No, right?
And it's also like things that are on a need-to-know basis. So
Yes.
it's like the people who have a key to your house. Everybody don't get a key to your house, just certain people who need to access your house.
Right.
Okay.
So in confidentiality is also about how do I give this authorized person that can come into this place that information, and then I have to establish trust so that they don't give it to someone else,
Right.
accidentally or intentionally. How about availability? Oh no, integrity. Excuse me.
I feel integrity is how well you're able to execute that confidentiality. Like, what do you have in place to keep the information confident?
Okay. How about you, Devon? Anything?
No, I ain't got anything for this.
What do you say?
He said, "No, I ain't got anything."
Data integrity is largely about making sure the data stays the way it is. Nobody changes it, right? So your social security number is what it is. It can't, you want to keep the integrity of that so somebody can't go in and change that number or any of your other information, right?
Well, sometimes we use encryption when we send things to other people, maintaining confidentiality, and also helping to assure the integrity of the data that's been encrypted. So if I send you information and I'm like, I sent you $10 and you say, now you sent me 20, then we got integrity issue right there as well. Somebody changed that information or whatever data that I gave. The last one, availability.
Who it's available to?
Say again, say it louder.
Who it's available to?
Who it's available to. Okay. How about you, Ramona?
Say who, but how it's available, like how they're able to access it.
Right. So if you went to work and your entire IT network was down, what's going to happen now?
Nothing's available.
Nothing's available, right? IT needs to be available to its users, to the stakeholders. Without it, we're going to make a business decision such as, perhaps you should go home, or then you'll have some places say, well, you're going to have to do it by hand, or you're going to have to figure out another way to get the job done. But Cheryl used to work for Office of Personnel Management, OPM. She used to be able to log onto certain government websites that after the OPM breach were no longer available to all the OPM personnel. How do you think that impacted her job?
She had to be more confidential about other stuff.
She was having a fit. I don't know how else to say it. She would call me. I can't get on the website. I have to use my own cell phone. Or, yeah.
But when the data isn't available, that makes it hard for me to do my work.
Yeah.
Also, availability is extremely important.
Right. The productivity, the bottom line, the business, the service, the money that they, whatever their mission is now compromised. Okay. We can go on and on about this, but something that you will read more on, make sure you understand this terminology because it's a foundation for everything.
Right, and one of the ways, go ahead to the next slide. One of the ways that you can help understand these concepts is to actually look at what's going on in the world with these things, okay? So this is an actual story. The CIA, and now here it's Central Intelligence Agency. That's what it stands for here, of course. But the director his email was compromised, okay? So if you read this article, you can see the ways the hacker violated those three pillars of the CIA Triad, how he violated confidentiality, he violated integrity and availability. You'll be able to actually read how that happens in articles like this. Then you can do this for all the concepts that you're coming across. If you need to understand it better, find out what's Microsoft doing with their BIOS. Like, how are they changing the mother? You know what I mean? Find out what's really going on in the world when it comes to these concepts. You'll remember it better. You'll understand it better.
Yeah, this is Microsoft, ironically, when she mentioned it, they're coming up with all kinds of new concepts to help strengthen CIA. I won't get into that now. If we were talking about the lesson, I would, but it's really interesting stuff. The crazy thing is, though, the CIA directors, a former CIA director, was compromised by a teenager, and they didn't want any money. They just put it on blast. Very embarrassing, especially being who he is or who he was, you know, in this position. But it can happen to any one of us. And if they decide to target us, guess what? They're probably going to get us. But
You know how it started? This is very interesting, Lingo. It started when he found out that the director uses Verizon as his phone carrier.
social engineering attack. All right.
And then from there, the snowballed.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Okay, number 10, engage in hands-on practice. Okay, which one of you want to volunteer and show us your screen real quick?
I got it.
Share mine.
Share screens. Good. Okay, so hold on. I just realized that you can't see the instructions, so I'm going to give it to you. Hold on 1 second. Okay, now are you sharing your screen yet? Because I don't see it.
Who,
It
Devon or me?
says I am. It says Zoom
Okay,
is
I see it now.
Yeah, I can
Somebody's
see
sharing their screen now. Okay. Good. Now, I'm going to give you the instructions. There's 2 of them. I would like for both of you to do it. Devon, where you go? You look like you disappeared. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Who's sharing their screen? Whose screen is this?
That's Devon's.
Devon's, okay. So the first question is, what kind of processor or CPU and RAM do you have? What I want you to do is on the bottom left, I want you to right click on the Windows Start menu icon, right? And we
I'm
want to
doing
see this.
my Chromebook.
Oh, you're using a Chromebook?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same or not. I tell you what, your mama gonna have to share her screen. Your aunt, I'm sorry.
It's all right. Let's see. Share my screen.
Mm-hmm. Now there is a way to do it on your computer. I'm not sure what it is, but I didn't put instructions together for a Chromebook.
Yeah, Chromebook is weird because I had to do it for an A+ class, and it took me forever to get the information that I needed.
It is easy to, it's unique. I'm sure you can find it, but for the sake of time, I would like you to use this, and we're going to keep moving.
So you said go into the search box.
Yeah, can you minimize that?
Minimize.
This.
This.
Are you sharing your screen? I see something that says Zoom.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, minimize that.
I did. Screen sharing is paused. Hold on. Resume. Okay. Hold on. New share. Do the screen.
There we go. Now we can see it.
That's better.
Yes.
Okay.
So on that window, right click on the Windows icon. On the left, the little window. Yeah, right click. Then I want you to, let me see, click on System. All right. Now scroll down and look for your CPU and RAM information and tell us what it is.
Oh, down here. Edition, CPU.
What is the name of your computer?
Device name. I got the laptop, M3D. I have an Intel Core 1.5 or i5 with 16 gigs of RAM.
2.3 gigahertz is your processor speed, and you see what your RAM is, and you see how much is usable. Okay, now take a look at the other information there. You can rename the PC. There's you see the edition number, the version
Right.
when it was installed. This is good basic information about the type of computer that you have.
If you get like help desk type work, you know, this is the kind of stuff you would need to provide the manufacturer if you're looking for a part or something like that.
Right. Sometimes you do this and it'll explain whether or not something is compatible that you're trying to install on a particular computer. For example, this is a Windows 10 Home Edition. You know, there are things that, there's also Enterprise Edition and the Professional Edition, you know, and you can do more with those. There's some things you just can't do otherwise with this. So ironically, there's some lessons in here that we can talk about that, but I just want to show you where you can find this basic information. Secondly, too, I would like for you to tell me the type of graphics card that you have. Do you know how to do that yourself? If not, we're going to go through the steps that are on a PowerPoint.
Graphics card. I would think it would be on my display. We can go through the steps because I'll find it eventually, but it'll take time.
That's good. Now, keep in mind, you can always search for stuff.
Right.
Right? But close this window for now. Go back to the bottom left with the Windows icon. Okay. Cheryl's fascinated by the picture.
I love it.
Reminds her of home.
It does. It reminds me of home.
It was hanging. It reminds me of my church growing up, but it was hung in the Nashville Convention Center when I went.
Oh my goodness, I love it.
Nice. So right-click on the Windows icon and look for Device Manager. Okay, now I want you to look for display adapters. All right.
Boom.
So what kind of graphics cards do you have?
Looks like I have an Intel UHD Graphics 630 and NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1050 Ti.
There you go. Who knows? You may want to upgrade your graphics card because you're going to become this big gamer all of a sudden. Or you want to have various machines and these graphic cards may not suffice. And then you're going to have to go into the motherboard and BIOS and do all the upgrades according to the steps. And this is where it will display. Interestingly, if you scroll down a little bit, see where it says Universal Serial Bus Controllers? Click that. Right? So these are the USB connection ports on your computer. But look where it says USB root hub. Right-click that. See where you can update the driver or disable the device or uninstall it. So you want to block access to Device Manager if you're a sysadmin at work, because if you're working in a government institution or even a private institution, some of them, especially if they're maintaining government compliance, they will disable the USB drive. Have you ever seen that?
Okay.
So this is one way to do that, and also some way for you to do this for troubleshooting too. If you have to troubleshoot, why isn't my USB drive working? Maybe you need to update the driver. Stuff like that. But that's also why we check for systems updates uptime. So we always do our updates. Microsoft does their updates once a month, sometimes more than that as needed. Other systems, you'll have to figure out how and when to do updates yourself. Okay, you can close out of that.
So the point of this one, which is the last strategy, is to when you read stuff in your course, go on your computer or someplace else and just find it out yourself. Yeah. See what it looks like on your computer. I remember we were talking about routers one day when we were studying for the Security Plus, and I had a question, and I was telling Wesley, I don't know how this fits. I don't understand how this works. He said, Cheryl, go downstairs and look at your router. I was like, oh, okay. So I did, you know, and I looked at the back of it where all the ports and stuff were, and I got it. You know, it was right there. I didn't need to stress and all this stuff, right?
Thank goodness. I was stressing out that day. Why isn't she getting it? Anyway, I have to be calm, right, as a trainer. and try to figure out how to get her to understand her way.
Mhm.
Okay, so now I'm gonna take over sharing the screens, okay?
Stop share. Boom. Now I see you.
Okay, yay. Okay, so now let's see here. Click on there, and then I click here, and then I click there, and yes. Can you see my screen here?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna go to the next slide. We're almost done. We only have 35 slides. Okay, it's practice question time. Cheryl, you want to come over here and make sure I'm doing this right? Because I don't think I am.
Go to display settings.
I want to do new share, I think, and do this.
Yeah.
Now I'm
You
back
could
up
just,
here.
okay, shut that off.
Hey, I'm doing some stuff. Hold on.
Hi, President.
Okay, no more questions here.
Minimize this. You don't need. Okay, we're not there yet, but okay, just go.
Okay, good. So we got a few questions here. Ready?
Yep.
Which of the following software licensing types is most likely to require the renewal of terms or conditions agreements and has annual fees?
It's subscription.
Is it a one-time purchase, open source, group license, or subscription?
What'd you say, Devon? I thought you said something.
I said subscription.
Mm. I was
Devon said subscription.
thinking.
What do you say, Ramona?
I think I'm leaning towards subscription as well. I thought at first one-time purchase, but I think it's subscription.
Okay. The answer is subscription.
Okay.
How about that?
Sounds good. Good
How do y'all
job.
feel about that? Okay, moving on to the next one. And a user connects a new mouse to a laptop, and the mouse works with no additional steps taken by Anne. Which of the following installation types does this best describe?
This one I
Is
know.
it A, driver installation, B, plug and play, C, web-based, D, manual?
What you got, Devon?
Plugin? No. Manual.
You gotta listen to the question and see how easy it was for her to install the new mouse.
Plug and play.
There you go.
So,
I agree.
both of you chose plug and play.
Yes.
That is the correct answer. Just like she said, it was very easy. No additional steps. Plug it in, boot, and start booting up, and next thing you know, it starts working. Moving on. Which of the following protocols is used for secure web browsing?
HTTPS.
HTTPS is what Devon said.
Yeah, I go with that.
What does HTTPS mean?
Hyper text transfer protocol.
Secure.
I forgot what the S is.
He just said it. What did he say?
Secure.
So you got it, Ramona?
Yes.
Say it again.
Hyper text transfer protocol secure.
Good. Versus HTTP, which is just hypertext transfer protocol. What's the difference?
The secure is more secure. I know a lot of websites, like if you use your banking or a lot of stuff where you have to use username and passwords, a lot of it is through HTTPS, where if you're just randomly browsing, looking at general stuff, it's normally just HTTP.
Right. So that has to do a lot with SSL, secure socket layer, and encryption, and keeping the information that you do in there private, because yes, machines can and will be hacked if allowed. Now, I'm not going to go into it now, but SFTP, you need to know what that means.
Yeah.
LT2P, TP, you need to know what that means. L2TP, excuse me. IMAP, you need to know what those mean. Understand and learn the ports that go along with it, and the ports and protocols, the number of the ports, what they do, why they do it.
This exam, but forever.
Know it even for this one. The reason why I say that is because I don't want you selecting the wrong answer. And it will help you in the long run. Okay, moving on to the next question. I think it's the last question. Which of the following is the most secure password?
C.
I would say C.
We got C from Ramona.
C.
Did you say C?
Yeah,
Why is it C, you guys?
because it has capitals, lowercase, numbers, and special characters, and so on.
All right, so it's a complex password, right? Whereas cracking systems, even though these passwords are very long, there are cracking systems out there, password cracking systems, open source, that you can actually crack this in a relatively short amount of time with computing, with the appropriate computing power.
I cannot stand passwords.
He has vocalized that to me many a day.
They're so annoying.
They gotta be so different. You can't use the same one.
I can't take it. I'm like,
Yeah.
did we put a man in the moon? Why I gotta have 27 different passwords? That doesn't make any sense. You know?
So, but check this out. Last year, April 1st, Cheryl's computer was hacked, or her Amazon account was hacked. How did you feel about that, Cheryl? She was devastated. It was another catalyst into making her really trying to start to understand what cybersecurity is. Something that happened to her. And it took her a long time to recover from that. And $2,000 she lost. I think she got it back to the bank. But still, that's very painful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these strong passwords, whether she likes it or not, she has to play with it. And if you start to look into password management, if you have access to the group policy service in Windows, you can actually go in and set user passwords on your actual networks. There's actually a way to download it too, to the home edition, which is so cool. The App Store, the apps that they have out there today. If we go through the course and continue this, we have a lot of things to actually do and show you besides just what we're doing today. Okay, these are all examples of questions that could be on your exam. You starting to get it?
Yes.
It's not overly difficult, is it? Or is it? I don't know.
No, as long as you know, like you said, instead of you trying to memorize what that answer is, as long as you know what all four of them are, it's easy to answer the question.
You can always process, eliminate out if you know what they all do.
Right.
Any of the answers.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now this website here is one open source website that you can use to answer questions. So hold on a second. Let me see if I can show you where it is. Okay, new share and this one. Okay. Can you see these questions?
Yes.
CompTIA FCO-U61 exam questions, right?
Yep.
Okay, these are just a few of them. Here's question number 9. For which of the following is a relational database management system most commonly used? Is it building flowcharts, Is it storing information, generating reports, creating diagrams? So you need to know what a relational database management system does.
Something that Wesley and I would do is if we saw something in a question that we didn't know what we went right to Google and looked it up right then and there. Okay.
That's how it is with my flashcards. If I didn't know what that was, I would make a note. What is this?
Good. That's great.
That's right. So what's the answer?
I thought it was storing information.
You thought it was storing information, and Devon thought it was what?
Relational means like two things, right? Or more.
Talk louder because we can't hear you.
Generating reports.
Generating reports. Okay, so we got 1B, we got 1C. Y'all want to fight it out? I'll give you 5 seconds. Okay, you didn't fight it out. I'm going to reveal the solution. What's the answer?
Storing information.
Right. So whenever we go onto like an online website or store, we're going to buy information. They have us put in our first name, our last name, address, our vitals, we call it, right? And we type that in the system, or we may even call if someone's typing that information. Guess where it's going? It's going into their database. So they can always call you back, always email you, provide you the customer service or troubleshooting that you deserve or may not want. So,
and remember, we have to understand why we're choosing the answers we're choosing, because we have the tendency to say, oh, I don't know, I just thought it was that answer. No, you are going through some kind of mental process to get to the answer, and we have to understand what that is, okay? Because we have to practice with that process to help us get to the correct answer. Are we looking for keywords? Are we thinking about what else do we know that's relational that could help me answer this question if I don't really know it, okay?
Right, so information relates to other information, is what she's basically saying here. So you store the information as in a management system. So sometimes you can use context clues even if you don't know the definition, but guess what? You'll never get this wrong again. Okay, so this website is available to you. Go ahead, do your 25 questions per day. Keep going. If you have questions of us, always call us. We may be able to add to the research that you're doing and may be able to help you understand a concept you may not understand, right? Because also with this relational database question, I would love for you to Google it, not only learn what it is, but look at an image and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
So that you can say, oh, that's how they do that. I got it now. Okay, so now we're gonna go back through the remainder of this PowerPoint, okay? We're almost done. We have another Zoom. This is an evaluation.
Can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay, this is gonna be another poll for you to complete really quickly, if you don't mind. It's anonymous, so go ahead and answer those few questions for us, please.
Can you see the poll?
No, I just see the screen that says Zoom and polls.
Okay, launch polling.
Oh,
Can
there
you
it
see
is.
now?
Yes.
Right, shouldn't take you long. 5 questions.
Boom.
Okay, somebody said boom. Did both of you answer?
Yep.
Okay, so everyone finished in polling. Okay, bring this up here like this so I can read it. I want to share the results. No, I'm not going to share the results. She told me don't share the results. I'll take it away. I'm sorry.
Too late. We saw it.
Yep, you saw it. Did you see the whole thing?
No, I went to the bottom one.
I know you didn't. So, okay, so I did that. I'm gonna go to the next slide. Okay, so next steps. So take the ITF CompTIA practice exam in your study materials and record your score. Okay, do the 25 per day. Take your time, go through it. You know, do it over 3 days or so. Okay, so you don't have to hurt yourself, right? Find a study partner, right? An accountability partner, right? Whether that be you two or someone else. Just make sure, hey, did you do your 25 questions a day today? No, well, you better get on it because the voucher's paid for.
Believe
You
it.
tracking? Otherwise, you owe me money. Just saying. Okay, dedicate at least 4 to 6 hours of study in the upcoming week. Hey, guess what? That's 1 hour a day,
Really?
right? And it says 4 to 6 hours. For 7 days. You can break it up 30, 30, 1 hour, 2 hours, be done.
Why is it?
Right? Just figure it out. Do it while you're driving in the car. Do it while you're walking outside. Do it while you're exercising. Whatever it is that you want to do. Right? I was gonna say something else, but I can't say it because we're online here. It'll probably make you laugh. It will. Okay, so answer at least 25 questions a day. We got that. To help us, yeah. Email or call Cheryl and I. You all have our contact information. We want to know what you're stuck on. We want to know what you're doing great with. Give us the good, the bad, the ugly. Every week, you don't mind, just send us an update. Tell us what you've learned. Tell us what you're struggling with so that we can help you. Because guess what? We're telling you, we're guiding you to facilitating with you to set an exam date, schedule it, and by that date, you need to be ready. Look at those questions really closely. If you don't know the definitions, go through them. One in your study, maybe just for an hour. Go through 20 to 30 different terms and know them. That's half the battle in answering a lot of questions. 6, review this class session on YouTube to revisit anything we talked about today. We recorded the entire session, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? It's just totally raw. And we hope that you all actually learned something today and are going to have some extra confidence. So Cheryl was saying something. It's not going to be in Future Kings. It's going to be where? Okay, we'll send you the link. It's going to be on the Future Kings YouTube page, and it's going to be private, okay? Any questions?
I got a problem.
You said you got a problem?
Yeah. My computer, the one with the Windows, every time I turn it on, the freaking screen goes black, even though it's running already and it started up.
Wow. Do you have a warranty on it?
It's the one that y'all gave me.
So there's no warranty on that one.
Mm-mm.
I don't know when we're going to see you, coronavirus. Have you done an update on it? Can you do an update?
The last time I did an update was when we were all together.
So it sounds like you have not done an update because we were together a while ago, and you need to do some updates on it at least once a month, maybe even every couple of weeks. And start there. If you have any other questions from there, email me, call me something, show me whatever. We can get on a Zoom session, share your screen and see what's going on with it. Okay?
All right.
All right, good. Do you all have any other questions? Because if not, we're going to end it here. And I'm looking forward to your progress within this 1 week. And then we can see how much further we can go along.
Okay.
Is that good?
Sounds good. Just send me the link for the next Zoom, and we'll be able to share our progress.
Awesome. Thank you all very much for putting up with us.
Thank you.
Thanks for the invite.
Yes. Okay, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Y'all have a good weekend.